I think that it doesn't matter who we vote for. Honestly, this is my personal opinion. Like it really truly means nothing.
Yep.
But my personal opinion on the matter is that at this stage in the game, it doesn't matter which way we vote. Listen up, maggots. This is the Grouch coming at you loud and clear with another edition of the Weekend Warriors podcast. This is the place for real, no bullshit talk on the harsh realities and irreverent humor around military life. So sit the fuck down, strap in, and get ready for a raw, no-holds-barred discussion. This is the Weekend Warriors. Hey, welcome again to another episode of the Weekend Warriors. This makes episode 5, and I think we're starting to get the hang of this. I'm the Grouch, and joining me this evening, we've got Steven and Jake. All right. So, Steven, what'd you do today? How was your day?
Well, today I had our every Thursday here in town we have a 6 meter lunch at a Mexican restaurant and sit around with
So the lunch is 6 meters long?
yes. um, the it's just a bunch of hams that sit around and tell tales and ask questions and eat lunch. And we do that every Thursday. And so that was this morning. So me and Aaron went over there and ate lunch, and then had the Radio Amateur Club of Knoxville, RAC. We had our monthly meeting tonight from 7 to about 8:30. So did that. Um, what I was showing y'all earlier, I finished printing a plate on the 3D printer for the Jeep so that I can be HF mobile with the 891 on top and the Kenwood 710 on the bottom. And now I've got to put the Jeep side of it together, get the bodies in there, and run some coax and other stuff. But that's for next week or something, because the Huntsville Ham Fest is coming up in 2 days.
Oh, it sure is. And I've seen lots of people that are headed that way, and they're
Yep.
filming their voyage.
I won't be filming, but I will be down there again. And because, one, it's a huge ham fest for the East Coast. It's probably, I don't know if it's second or third. I've never been to Hamcation down in Florida, but you've got Dayton up in Xenia, Ohio, Huntsville, Alabama, and Orlando, Florida are the top 3 for the East Coast. And
What about Hamex?
where's that at?
Massachusetts.
Y'all don't count as the East Coast. Y'all are fucking Yankees.
Well, Massachusetts is its own entity altogether, but
Then did the Atlanta one, and that was actually pretty decent size. I'd say probably about 75% the size of Huntsville. So not too bad there.
Ran into Jake at Huntsville last year,
That
but
was fun.
he won't be there. Jake and DJ and Jake's brother were there last year.
Yeah, had a
I
blast.
think this year it's just going to be DJ and I don't know who else.
Yeah, my brother used to live down there near Huntsville. He was working for Lockheed Martin. Got him to get his technician license. Dragged his butt over to Huntsville Ham Fest. He got himself a couple of decent radios, some other Yaesus for his desk setup, and got him an antenna. Next thing I know, I got him mounting the old satellite dish mount. He took the satellite dish off. Got him dragging that up to the peak of his roof, installing that on his roof. So that was pretty fun last year. Fortunately, won't be going this time around. He moved now up to Ohio. I don't know what's in Ohio other than weird people. So perfect fit for him. Um,
it's
but
Palestine.
yeah, so I'm hoping come spring I'll be able to head up for the Dayton Ham Fest with him.
Nice. Well, Jake, with that segue over to you, how was your day and how you been doing?
I'm doing pretty good. This is my first day on block leave, so my day was fairly boring compared to the rest of the week. Let's see. I got up, did a bit of homework. I'm taking 3 classes right now, which is absolutely awful. I got DC circuits, AC circuits, and physics one with lab. That's the one that's absolutely kicking my butt, and I have a midterm to take by Saturday. So I'm actually procrastinating on this podcast right now. So and y'all are enabling me. So thank you. Um,
Perfect.
so I did a little bit of work on my truck. I did an oil change a couple weeks ago and put it's a sealed oil pan where you just tighten it up and then you can go get dumped over at O'Reilly's or something. The vent cap popped up and it leaked oil in the bed of my truck.
Oh shit.
Luckily there wasn't much back there other than some trash and a couple rolls of shop towels which I had to dispose of. But I had to go. I sprayed as much as I could, wiped as much as I could down, sprayed as much as I could down with brake cleaner to trying to degrease it. Tried to go to a car wash, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't come through the auto car wash." Apparently, the only power wash car wash anywhere near us is on post. So, first day of leave, I don't normally go on post for anything, but I had to go on post to hit up the car wash and spray down the bed of my truck. And then, just went and got my wife a new phone because she was due for an upgrade. She's had the same phone for like 3 years, so she's super happy right now. And
What'd she
then,
get? Not an
Gotta
iPhone.
keep mama happy.
no, S24 Plus.
All
Um,
right.
AT&T had a deal on it, so it's free with the old phone trade-in. So try and do those deals when I can. Um, So that's my day. Yesterday was more eventful with a brigade run, and um, you know there was a heat cat towards the end of the run. Ambulance had to go pick him up, so that was interesting.
They
Um,
clearly didn't watch our heat casualty fucking
Yes.
episode.
yeah, apparently not. If they did, they would have had an
That was what,
FLA
episode
trailing
3?
behind.
I think episode 3 was about heat
Could have
casualties,
been,
wasn't it?
might
Yeah.
be. Um, But what blew my mind about the brigade run, and it's in like every risk assessment con op ever. When you have something that size, you're going to have the medics and an FLA following behind or something. There was no FLA. Yeah, they had the medics running down from a street corner with a cooler and a bundle of sheets, and then about 10 minutes later, the ambulance shows up. So no FLA for them for that one. Um, but it's supposed to be a 4 mile run. I logged almost 6 miles because there were 3 fallouts in my platoon. So at the end of the run, I went back to try and find the fallouts. Only found one of them because apparently the other two fell out so far behind. They just cut across another way and got there before everyone.
So they took the shortcut.
They took the shortcut, which with how early they fell out, I don't blame them. They wouldn't have caught up for probably another hour at their pace. But
Well, I know you had mentioned that there was something special about that bourbon glass you got. And, hey, cheers, Jake. I got a
cheers.
little Lafroig.
Nice. I got a local distillery in here. It's MB Roland. They make a good bourbon in Kentucky here. Yeah, this glass specifically, it's got a little Idaho on it, right? So
Idaho?
yeah,
Idaho.
We
yeah, I
are the
am.
hoe.
Yeah, we are. But this is from the McCall Brewing Company in Idaho. Yeah, McCall, if you watching and you don't know, is this kind of mountain resort town in about south central Idaho, about 2 hours north of Boise. And my wife and I, we met in college. We got together. We got married back in 2017, and we're absolutely broke college kids. So our honeymoon, uh, we we borrowed a friend's cabin they had up there, so we could stay up there for free, and we had our honeymoon up in McCall. I was 10 days from turning 21 when we got married, so I couldn't drink. Um, but what do you know? We go to McCall Brewing Company. Uh, I didn't know this. We didn't know this at the time, but one of my wife's bridesmaids was actually a server there because it was her uncle's place. She was working there over the summer. She was working there, and not only did I get served, we get served free drinks, but I was able to walk away with this nice, I don't know, beer tasting glass, I think you'd call it. I don't know. It works great for sipping bourbon. Uh, so this is for my honeymoon, Idaho. And then 6 months later, I made the dumb decision to join the army.
So that glass is a reminder of lots of good decisions.
Yeah, this glass is a reminder of what life was like before the army.
But really though, right? Like what was life like before the army at such a young age?
I would say a lot more freedom in my personal choices, what I could do, where I could go. However, the flip side, I was broke, so I didn't have any money to back it to go do anything.
Well, not
So
like soldiers are wealthy.
no, no, not at all. But like there's soldier broke because you spent your money on dumb things, and then there's
It's true.
actually broke because I'm making like $400 a week or something.
Yeah,
It's yeah. So on the flip side, yeah, I can support a family of four. Get a little enough left over to, go out and do stuff a couple times a year. Um, Wife and I are about to go celebrate our 7-year anniversary. Um,
congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
That's awesome. Yeah, the wife and I we just hit 13 years together, and
Congratulations.
that was one heck of a milestone. I'm sure Steven, you're probably close to 40, right?
32.
Yeah, there you go. All right,
That's
eight
pretty
eight
big
away.
deal. Well, here, cheers to that.
I got to do math at that point. It's been so long.
Yeah, congrats, Steven, and
But
Mrs. Steven.
Been
she's
married
not here
longer than I've been alive.
because I put her on a plane to Germany yesterday.
Oh,
So she is
you wanted to get
spending,
rid of her that bad?
yes. So she is spending, today's her birthday. Happy birthday, honey. She is spending her birthday with her mother in Germany. And she'll be there for 3 weeks. Yes.
Wow. Well, happy
Yeah.
birthday, Mrs. Steven.
Happy birthday to her. Yeah.
So how was your day, Paul?
You know what? Not terrible. I hadn't been out to my favorite park since I came back from Florida in April. So it had been a good long while since I'd activated my park, like 4 months. Um, one of the other guys from the Live Free and Ham podcast, Todd W1STJ, he really wanted to go and check out this park. So I told him, I said, listen, we did a podcast recording last Sunday, and I said, pick a freaking day this week. Like, I'm leaving for vacation on Friday, so any day from now until Friday, pick the freaking day, and we'll go. And so yeah, so we went this morning. He followed me out, and what a beautiful ride. I love going out there. You got to take a lot of back roads, and it's like 20 minutes on these single lane windy roads through the woods, and it turns to dirt.
Classic
You know,
guys.
another like yeah, oh, yeah. There's pictures of where I set up on my QRZ Ed page. It's Russell Abbott State Forest, but just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, so I got to do that this morning. We get 32 contacts in a couple hours. And I came home, and obviously the motivation now is getting ready to leave tomorrow for the week. Yeah, not a bad day though. Thanks.
I have a question.
All right, let her rip.
Crimp or solder?
Why not
Depends.
both?
So mobile for sure crimp. Because if you're in any situation where your cables are shaking or moving around over time, you want that crimp connection where they can move a little bit without failing. Now, your solder connection is great for anything that's static and stable, but anything that's moving around a lot, over time that solder joint can break or become, no longer keep the wires together.
Valid point. I've never thought of it from that point of view.
Yeah, well, and so like I mean, when I rewired all the boat stuff, I crimped everything. I didn't solder anything. I just crimped it all. But glad I made the right decision because the
Yeah,
boat is definitely there's some vibrations and movement and everything.
Just like the Jeep, just a little bit occasionally.
Just a little bit.
let me say it also depends on the project too. So sometimes solder makes sense. Sometimes crimping makes more sense.
Now,
That
when you make your coax, what do you use for connectors? Do you use crimp-ons?
yes, that's all. I don't solder any of mine. I'm an only crimp kind of guy.
I solder mine.
Really?
Yeah. As I said, most of my coax connections are static setups. I yes, my POTA cables even I solder, but I can keep an eye on those. So if I have to read,
No, I assume when you're talking about soldering the coax, you're talking about the braid because I mean you have to solder the center pin usually.
True.
yeah, 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 I do the braid solder, but uh, other than that, it's just a pressure fitting aside from the solder.
I haven't purchased any of the Messi and Poloni uh connectors yet, but I did get some knockoffs and let me tell you, they're amazing.
Okay,
Oh, of course, now I'm knocking all the stuff off my shelves. Uh yeah, well, I mean just the fact that like
Oh wow.
they literally unscrew and then on the inside you've got, the ferrule that compresses
yeah,
and yeah, I mean, dude, these things are ingenious. Like they're reusable. You can pull them off and put them onto, any new coax. These happen to be for LMR 400, but
nice. I need
yeah.
to get some of those because I have some really heavy duty. Um, it's not LMR specifically, but it's essentially LMR 600 that
Oh,
I got sent for free actually, but I have probably 40 feet of it if I had to guess. It's massive cable. I don't even know what connector to get for it yet. Because this won't work. This will work for RG 58, 58X, probably even as high up as the just RG8, right? But I don't
is
know
that
what to
is that
use.
the style with the little adapter sleeve in it?
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
are you talking about the cable or this?
No, the connector. It's got the little
Yeah,
adapter
yeah.
sleeve.
So it's an adapter sleeve that screws in and pressure fits, and
Yep.
then the outer conductor braid, you'll do a solder points in these little holes here.
Yep.
Then, yeah, just works out pretty well. I just redid a cable. So I have one antenna set up at my house right now for APRS, and I just unscrew that from my FTM 1500 that's running my APRS beacon to my main radio when I want to use it. But I need to get my antenna set back up. I just have that one right now, and uh, now that I'm on leave, once I get back from Ohio, I think I'll set those up. But I kinda wanna use that cable I have, the heavy duty cable, um, but I don't know, what I need to use for the connector.
Well, I mean, I would imagine that you could probably find a PL259. Um,
Probably, and my
you
antenna is
know,
BL259. I
because
think I would.
I think you want to run, like an LMR 400 or an LMR 600, like for UHF.
Right, and that's what it would go into is my 2 meter 70 centimeter antenna. I
Yeah.
wouldn't waste it on my HF antenna, although it'll help. There's not much of a point because the loss is so low with RG58 as it is. But
Well, since we're talking about ham radio builds, I'm actually really excited about this.
Ooh.
So it's
What
a
you got?
kit. The local club is going to do a Zoom build, and we're going to build tape measure Yagis.
Ooh, like that.
Yeah, so I got all the bits and baubles except for the tape measure, which
Okay.
is on the toolbox. Yeah, I got a nice extra piece of I think it's RG8X. I'm going to cut the ends off and put BNCs on it. That way I can BNC on both ends and have myself a little tape measure Yagi.
That was my first antenna build when I built my first antenna. Was a tape measure Yagi.
Was it really? Steven, is every cup or drinking thing that you own
Uh,
green?
Apparently, the coffee cup that I happen to have down here is a it's not really green, it's more teal, but as you can see, it becomes invisible.
Ooh.
Well, for the listeners that can't see, it's invisible.
Oh, yes. I forgot. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and a bunch more.
Oh yes, every podcast platform there is. We're on it. Of course, apparently, I didn't realize until Steven went to look on Apple Podcasts, but apparently there's a lot of Weekend Warrior podcasts.
Yes.
So we're one of many, but we are the best.
If you found us thinking that we were different Weekend Warriors, sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Enjoy the
Yeah,
show.
not really.
May or may not have been done on purpose.
You know, honestly, I think Robert picked the name.
I think he did.
If I remember right, I think when we were first discussing this and putting it in motion, I think he said, "Oh yeah, Weekend Warriors. That sounds great." And I was like, "Yeah, all right, cool. Let's run with it."
Since the last episode, I have figured out all of the digital stuff that I do for the American Legion Radio Club and the Flag and Torch Radio Club. We now have Echolink node in the sky that is attached to us some of the time. But more importantly, I figured out how to auto link and unlink stuff. If you've been listening to the Reflector at all this week or Ham Shack Hotline at all this week,
How would people that aren't familiar, how would they get into the Reflector?
xlx.flag and torch society is our Reflector page. We have a DMR link, we have a Echo link, two Echo links. Flag and Torch's DMR reflector of XLX 946 for talk group 4002. The Flag and Torch Society's YSF reflector XLX 946. TLARC's Echo link is 155207. We then have the Flag and Torch Society's All-Star node, which is node 60741, which has Echo Link node 219888 and Ham Shack Hotline extension of 94187. Any of those will get you into the link, and all of those are linked together 90% of the time. Monday through Friday for 2 hours during lunch around noon to 2. We drop out Telarc's Echo Link. We link into the W4 KEV repeater system for a Monday through Friday 2-hour lunch net. You never know what's going on during lunchtime. Yesterday, our net controller was Jerry, N4IJL. He started out by asking for any new hams. We spent the first hour of the net talking with about 6 maybe hams that had their license within the last couple of months, some of them within a few days.
Wow.
He had 3 first contacts that they had been listening to the net, and checking in yesterday with him was the first person that they'd talked to on the net. So he's trying to get all the information to fill out. He's trying to get all the information.
Don't go squirrel.
I getting back to fill out the ARRL's first contact certificate and send it to them so that they've got a reference. I mean, it doesn't mean your first
They have that?
contact doesn't mean anything. Yes.
Wish I'd known that.
We'll have Paul put a link for the ARRL's first contact certificate somewhere.
Yeah, we'll put it all in the show notes.
But it's
and we'll put all the note information as well.
It's a fillable PDF that says, "Hey, first contact, the date with so and so," and you print it out and you stick it over to the side or mount it up on the wall. Most people don't care the first year or so, but in 20 or 30 years, when you're still talking on the radio and you're like, "I don't remember who that first guy that I spoke to was." Well, now you got something that you can stick up on the wall in a frame that looks pretty cool to remind you. Then one of the guys on the net, he said he was checking in from Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Oh, that's right next to me.
And I went, huh? So I did a comment and nudged into the QSO a little bit there and was like, "Hey Jerry, how's he getting into the link?" So there is a guy that is up in your neck of the woods, Jake, in Hopkinsville, that has
I probably know who it is.
local repeater.
N1YKT.
Yes, him.
Yeah, I've talked to him a few times.
He tries to remember to link up with the LunchNet, and he has a 440 link or a 440 repeater with an all-star node on it, and so he'll link in occasionally, and it's a good way for
that. I can hit that on RF.
Yeah, I know. That's why it just hit me. You can hit that on RF.
Yeah.
Anyway,
FCC's about to make a huge mistake if they go through with what they're talking about. Why don't you bring that up?
I hope not. So, if you have a Meshtastic device,
Yep.
Few of them.
like most of us do, Paul's going to post up a link. Hopefully, this airs in time so that you can go to the FCC's website and get in on the comment session to tell them to piss off and leave our portion of the amateur band alone, because otherwise we're going to lose some of the 900 megahertz.
Yeah, 902 to 928. They want to take it away, huh?
They want to take out the entire unlicensed service with a 5 megahertz bandwidth and 10 megahertz bandwidth, respectively. That's and 2,000 watts and 1,000 watts. You're taking out the entire band for any device that's already using that unlicensed service. And there are a ton of companies already produce dozens of LoRa devices at 900.
I don't have the full list. They don't even they haven't supplied the FCC with the full list of everything that it's going to affect. And I mean, I have a weather station up on the top of the tower. Well, the humidity and stuff like that reports back to the inside base part of it over that part of the 900 LoRa band. There's a bunch of 915 megahertz stuff, whether it's barometers, altimeters, wind and weather sensors that are currently in use by lots of companies all over the U.S.
Especially considering how crowded 2.4 gigahertz is, that's your next best option for a lot of devices is the 915. What they're looking at isn't the frequency use case to be able to get into buildings, because you could use lower frequencies to do so. They're looking at that with dollar signs, because it's an unlicensed band that's not already being used for Wi-Fi, right? Because if it was already being used for Wi-Fi, FCC would do an automatic no. We'd know that. But like the fact that they're pushing 1,000 to 2,000 watts there, even the craziest ham, I don't think, would be pushing full 1500 watts into a 900 megahertz unless they're doing something directional across a long distance that they needed that for. But then if you got any LoRa repeaters or devices in your area, you've now blown them out of the water. They can't hear each other.
Well, and isn't that what the water company uses to check water meters now? And the most electric companies are using it to
The
check
electric.
meters?
Yep.
Yes, but they're
Yeah.
low power. They're not extremely high power, so it
They're like
doesn't interfere.
they're milliwatts though.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
That-
a milliwatt device like our where's my other Lord device? My other mesh-tastic. I mean, these are milliwatts. So, Russ finally decided to join us.
I
Hey,
didn't
Russ.
see it. I didn't see the invite.
The invite was up like Monday, so hush. You just didn't pay attention.
In that mode.
But yeah, I mean, 1,000 watts is going to wipe this out, and they're not going to be able to. Hey, wait. If they can't read my meter, they can't charge me.
clever.
If this is aired by and you still have time, please go fill out a comment and tell them no. Leave our frequencies alone.
To be perfectly honest, though, I do think it affects the unlicensed services more than it affects amateur radio. Because worst case scenario, as hams, we do have other bands we can go to.
Right.
That's one of the only unlicensed sections of frequency available for a service such as LoRa.
So you're moving on.
Yeah.
Russ, since you're just joining us, how was your day?
Day was eventful. Not too eventful. I mean, it was kind of eventful. I got back to my duties of doing fucking funeral honors, funerals for veterans again, while I wait for my next assignment, which is coming up in October. Looks like I'll be taking over data operations for Sustainment Brigade. Yeah, and I ran into my ex-girlfriend. Yeah, like that ruined my
Strip
day.
club?
That ruined my day.
You went to the wrong strip club?
Yeah, I went to Daisy's and I had to go to Carmela's. But other than that, I was actually probably in about an hour. I'm gonna go on a ruck, just around the neighborhood, see how far can I go. Been neglecting my physical health lately. But yeah, thanks for asking, man. Thanks for asking.
Well, I think last week after the recording, you went on a run with a gas mask on, right?
That is true. Yes, I am preparing to fight in the nuclear, biological, chemical environment. Yeah, that's the way I can put it. But at the same time, I'm just a weird guy. I saw a gas mask. I said, you know what? It would be cool to run with it. Because first, it kind of deprives you of oxygen. You're not consuming oxygen. It doesn't go into your blood, so you get tired faster. But you're also getting better because you're not getting that oxygen. Your body has to work extra hard. But yeah, that was I have a gas mask in my car. So
How many times did you have to dump the sweat out of it?
Only once. I put it on and I kept running, and it has a good.
Good seal.
Yeah, it's got a good seal. Not gonna lie. I wasn't sweating too much in my face because usually how I sweat, it comes from my head and it goes down. But it was all sealed. And I wasn't freaking sweating anywhere here, just a little bit, but most of it was all over my body. But
So next time, full mop 4.
if I can get the suit, I will go for it.
So
But
which gas mask are y'all using now? Are y'all still using the M17s, the older M17s?
No, we went to. Oh no, not those. Those are Vietnam era.
I think it's M40.
They're Desert Storm arrows,
M50.
fucking kid.
No, we use the M50.
We were wearing the M17s.
Wow.
I know because this is pre Desert Shield and Desert Storm, but back in 1990, I fell asleep in a foxhole wearing one of those and woke up in the hospital with pneumonia.
Oh shit!
Good Lord. Wasn't
But I was running with M17. That was actually M17.
just have an M17 lying around?
I got 3 of them upstairs.
If you got an extra, I'll take one.
I bought 2 off of eBay, and then for my son, I got him a Yugoslavian youth one.
Oh, those ones are sick. The Soviet style.
Yep. Yeah, I had to get an adapter for the canisters so that, I didn't have to buy different canisters. But yep. So the 14-year-old has a Yugoslavian, and then the wife and I have M17. Now,
Yeah.
my family still gives me shit for this, but when COVID first took off,
What's your source on this? A tinfoil hat?
right? All the scare tactics and the propaganda and all that. Let me tell you that I went grocery shopping in full Mop 4.
No way.
100%.
That's actually great. I don't blame you. That's awesome.
Because you know what? I was like, you know what? If this virus is as bad as they say, like, this is my only protection. If I'm
Yep.
going to go out in public, I'm going to go full Mop 4. And yep, I had my 1911 strapped to my thigh. I went to the grocery store full Mop 4.
Because it's politics, man. Politics.
We should get together, talk politics sometime.
All right. Not to get super fucking political, because I know like politics and religion are the 2 things that divide people. But based off of what you know, right? This is for all of you, right? Based off what you know, is Kamala and Walz the next president and vice president that you want to vote for?
Fuck no.
How he's gonna? We already weak. We.
Oh wait, was I supposed to think about that?
I don't think there are worse options. But I'm in it. So I'm a independent. I'm a right leaning centrist. I identify mostly as libertarian.
Yep.
Oh, I am a libertarian.
If Kennedy had more support, I would probably be voting for Kennedy. But to be perfectly honest, I may very well end up vote for Kamala, because I think out of our choices available, that campaign ticket might actually be a better option for us. Now, people may disagree with it. You might think the other side of the ticket's a better option.
I can't find
But
it.
for me personally, I think Trump is too polarizing of a person for our country. And what we need, regardless what side of the ticket you're on, we need way less polarization than what we have right now. We need much, much less red versus blue BS that we got going on, because as of right now, we have a very divided country because of the candidates we have on the ticket. And I think it'll be a long time yet before we can come together on a lot of issues. Until I would personally like to see the entire 2-party system dissolved as a whole, and every single candidate for any office running as an independent based on platform of their views or policies, not
The-
just
The
no,
only downside to that is you get, I think you'd get too much speaking out of both sides of your mouth on that, and not being able to properly, especially in today's day and age, of being able to vet that. I do think that we need more than 2 parties. I think that we need a third or a fourth, to sort of even it out, because the 2 that are currently there are both fucking broke. in my
Extremely
opinion.
polarized.
And
Beyond broken.
I mean, I do disagree with Jake, but because I'm the type of person that if there's an incumbent, I'm voting against you, just because I think other people need a chance. Um, and their track record, I mean, she's been there for the last 3.5 years, and she's saying, on day one, I'm going to do this.
You're in the
You've
fucking White
already
House.
fucked it up. You voted against it and put it in place. Her big thing now is copying the other guy saying, I'm going to do away with the tax on tips. But your party is the one that introduced the tips tax, and you were the tie-breaking vote to approve it. So your track record is for shit. So that's one of the many reasons. But
Well, so
Paul,
I'll agree with Jake that the country is very divided. And I think that it's divided purposefully
oh yeah,
because I think that it doesn't matter who we vote for. Honestly, this is my personal opinion. Like it really truly means nothing.
Yep.
But my personal opinion on the matter is that at this stage in the game, it doesn't matter which way we vote. The election is already predetermined, and so we're going to get the next puppet, and whatever the shadow is that's running things is going to continue to run things. I just don't agree with the direction that we're going, and I think that we need to get back to an America First mentality.
We're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
Where we prioritize American citizens, natural born American citizens, not immigrants. Now, I do think that immigrants are important and immigration is important, but it has to be done the right way. It has to be done legally. You know, just like the hordes and hordes of people that came through Ellis Island, it was all done legally and legit.
Well, on that
Like,
note, they didn't have half of the rules we have today for immigration at that point. So, uh, getting rid of some of those restrictions coming from the libertarian side to make immigration easier to obtain legally as well, I'd say would be a good point on that.
mm-hmm.
So do you know what those limitations are?
Off the top of my head, no, but
So
I know the timelines for one are ridiculous.
yeah, yes and no. My wife is a German citizen. She is still a valid green card holder. Um, and my brother-in-law is now a U.S. citizen. Both of them went through the process. He's from Ecuador. Both of them went through the legal immigration process. So I was still in the service. We'd been married for a year when I ETS'd. We started filling out all the paperwork. It took us a little over a year to get everything done. Doctor's visits, trips to the embassy, trips to the consulate, all while we were still over in Germany. And every 5 and 10 years, we've had to go to Nashville, Atlanta. One year, I think it was, I think we had to drive all the way to Memphis um, to get renewals for her green card. The first one was only good for 1 or 2 years, 2 years maybe. And then we had to go, and each one of those cost anywhere from $175 to $500 to get a renewal. It's not cheap. It cost money. At one point, when I had added everything up, just to get her over here, not counting plane tickets and all of that, was over $5,000 just in fees to the U.S. government to get everything done properly. So for people that are just walking across a fence line and doing it the wrong way, I equate that to, have you ever stood in line at a movie theater for a premiere?
No.
Only to walk in and somebody pushed open the exit door and all the seats are already full. I mean,
Yep.
that we have an immigration policy in place, laws that they don't enforce, too many laws that they don't enforce. And all they want to do is create more laws, thinking that laws do something. Laws don't fucking do anything. Laws don't keep people from breaking them. People break laws all the time.
The more laws you
do-
have, the more criminals you get.
Exactly. I mean, saying that you're going to make a law for something is just a politician's way of saying, I'm not going to do anything about this. Because the libertarian in me says that all a law does is cost the taxpayers money. Because somebody has to enforce that law and somebody has to monitor that. And anyway, but our immigration system for decades was set up so that everybody around the globe had an equal opportunity to come here.
Absolutely.
Well, that has changed, and their racist policy now is towards South America's people, of bringing them up here, and which is being biased towards people in European countries, Asian countries, um, whatever you call Russia, Persia, or whatever.
This does lead into another big problem we have with that. If you don't mind a slight interruption.
Yeah.
So another big problem that, and the reason we have that, is so much of the United States agricultural community, from orchards to farms to, ranches, everything across the board relies on migrant workers from South America to keep our country fed year to year, because they're the only people willing to work as hard at such low wages. In most cases, under the table, below minimum wage, because they can get away with that. Um, and our entire society and agriculture relies on that.
But why?
So because we don't pay farmers enough.
Nah,
For
I
one.
disagree with that.
And a lot of cases, I'm talking small time farmer. I'm not talking like the corporations that run
No,
thousand
I
farms.
agree with that. I disagree with because we have allowed our government to tax us at 50 something percent, 52%, I think it is, of our wealth goes to the government. So the government can then in turn give it away to other people so that they don't have to work.
Yeah, right there.
Or give it to other countries, like funding the fucking Taliban.
And that,
I mean, so
did you guys see the Sean Ryan podcast?
$44 million a week to the Taliban?
Yeah, that shit is unacceptable.
You're talking about when they're the Mujahideen or after that?
No.
Oh, currently.
Last week.
Oh, we are currently paying the Taliban.
Every week this year.
Currently. Yeah. If you haven't checked it out, Sean Ryan has some absolutely phenomenal interviews.
Yes.
Legend and the other one, of course, I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I mean, the reason I kind of see why, because why not? We can just fucking print some more money. Like, who gives a shit? Let's just give money to everybody, and then all we gotta do is just press the button, and here you go. We have it for you. And then who suffers? Us. You suffer, Steven. You suffer, Jake. You suffer, Paul. We get taxed.
Yeah, I
These are
already suffer.
benefits. So we can print some money and give it to those who don't want to contribute absolutely anything to the society, / give the money to overseas government to try to maintain our presence and influence there to prevent some sort of whatever they were trying to prevent. I'm assuming they're trying to prevent fucking Taliban just blowing shit up. I don't know. Fucking don't fucking know. But
well, here let's get into some fucking conspiracy theory, right? Like,
Oh, conspiracy theorists of the world unite.
Was there no end to this conspiracy of irrational prejudice against Red Ryder and his peacemaker?
if you think about it, I truly believe that the focus on trans ideology and this whole like gender isn't a thing and very anti-science, anti-biology, I think it's all a smoke show so that we're not paying attention to what the government's truly doing.
Oh
I
yeah.
agree.
You know, because like, I mean, if it wasn't for people like Sean Ryan, like we wouldn't have a clue that we were still contributing like hundreds of thousands of dollars weekly to this fucking Taliban. And all of those years of lives and limbs lost. And for what? Like, I think the government is just, it's far too big. And I don't know how we hit reset.
I'll tell you this: politics are so screwed up. I didn't even vote in the last presidential election. I wasn't okay with either ticket.
Yeah, but you unfortunately you have to pick a side, and you have to pick the lesser of two evils, because if you don't vote, then locally here we just had a general election and a primary, and we only had 7% voter turnout.
Yep.
When
The 93
only
go for it.
7% of the people make the choice, then I mean that's how one side becomes so lopsided, because you get so many apathetic people that say, well, my vote's not going to matter, or I don't like either one of the candidates, or I just don't feel like it. Then the rural people, which is the majority of this country, don't go vote, and the little population pockets that are in the city that make it easy to go vote, that are on all of the handouts, and they vote for one particular side, then that is what you get.
Sure. And don't get me wrong. I'm talking specifically presidential, not voting presidential candidate. Like you should,
but
like the most impact you can make on any vote is up to your state level. There's a huge impact there. A handful of voters can swing one way or another up to at least the state level.
See,
And
I
even
mean,
for Congress,
city,
can make
county, and state are all that matter. I mean, federal, yeah, they, as most people don't understand, they only have the rights that we give them. They don't have, it's not the way most people say it of, well, the government gives you the rights. No, we have all of the rights. You just take them away from us by the laws that you write.
For sure.
Well, there's so many laws today that like it's just astounding. You know, like I've been a strong advocate for legalizing marijuana in the state of New Hampshire, right? Because it's where I live. And not necessarily purely for recreational use, but I would rather use cannabis than take a handful of pills 3 times a day. And so it's frustrating when my local officials, all the way up to the governor, refuse to hear the majority of the population saying, yes, this is right. Like, more than half the country has gone against the federal government and legalized at the state level. Like, why aren't we there yet?
Have you ever watched Adam Ruins Everything?
No. Adam
Good.
ruins everything.
Especially the episode specifically on legalizing marijuana. The entire reason that marijuana is a Schedule I drug in the first place is because of racism against Mexican South American immigrants.
I thought because the alcohol is going to go under the business. Alcohol in the pharmaceutical industrial complex will deteriorate due to getting marijuana legalized. That's what I heard.
Of ketamine and steroids. So,
Okay.
I can see that. Hey Jake, in the chat, the two Sarah Adams Superbad episodes, 81, and then she came back and did 116.
okay.
Those are really worth watching. And then the Nick Irving one, The Reaper. He was a Army sniper. It's 118. It's a pretty good one. It's the Sean Ryan shows are not short. They're about anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 hours long. I listen to them on podcast because it's easier for me to do than watching them.
Okay.
But I'm watching the Commander Masood episode 121 now. The other two that I put in there are the Eric Prince episode 123 and the Jim Caviezel episode of 64. Those touch on religion and are pretty heavy episodes for religious content, and I really enjoyed both of those. The Eric
the
Prince,
Jim Caviezel interview was fantastic.
yes,
I'd
but
say,
that,
if it was possible to get him to come on here, I mean,
Oh.
you would talk about an unreal conversation. I watched his interview with Tucker Carlson, and he got into a little bit about his suicide attempt, and man, that was just deep. It was deep and it was heavy. And I applaud him for putting it out there because, I mean, 10, 10, 10, that's my lucky day, those moments of weakness that we have, where we think that there's no hope and our best option is to check out. Like,
and unfortunately, too many of us, either prior service or current service, get into that mindset of thinking nobody else feels this way. Bullshit. Every single one of us feels that way at some point, or has, or is, or does. We just don't talk about it. And getting people to understand it's okay to think that way. It's not okay to act on it. Get some help, talk to somebody. Hell, call one of the numbers, call a friend. Everybody has those thoughts. It's human.
well, now that we've delved into politics and deep emotional shit, what do you say we wrap this up?
It's getting to be that time.
All right. So with that said, hey, I want to thank each and every person that has stuck with us for this episode of the Weekend Warriors, and I sure hope that you've enjoyed the conversation. Hey, just you stick with it. We're all in this together.
Remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together.
Jake, what do you got? Final parting words for our listeners.
Don't do dumb shit.
Don't do dumb shit. That's very true. Don't do dumb shit. Don't marry strippers.
Don't buy that Camaro at 38% financing just because you can.
Don't get into a fight. If you do, win.
Click the little bell so you get notified when we do these videos. And I'm throwing a loop in, like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.